Welcome and welcome back to Vitu Vidogo. This is your host Kabere Karaoke, and today we are gonna talk about lakes, yes, and lake parks and waterfronts. Do you know, fun fact, that Canada has over 2 million lakes? 2 million. You heard that right. And the first time, when I was looking at this, because you have to look at the Canadian map. If you have your phone, and you can check on Google Maps and just zoom in, zoom out, on the map of Canada, you realize it has so much water. Like, the first time I was looking, because I was looking on how to drive from Toronto and go to Vancouver. Vancouver is the westernmost city on Canada. And I was astounded to see that you drive through the United States to go to Vancouver. And at first I was like, why are we having to drive, through the United States? That means you have to cross the border in New York and then go all the way west through the other states. And then now I was looking at the Canadian roads, and then I realized, oh my, yeah, all those water bodies, like you are trying to avoid them. But hey, so today we are talking about lakes. So of course, when you talk about the lakes, we have the Great Lakes. There are usually 5 of them. I think Ontario, Lake Superior, Lake Erie. If you know the other 2, please, you can put them in the comment. Now, these lakes, there's a huge ones. Like the Great Lakes, they share, they are along the US and the Canadian border. So these are shared by, by 2 countries. And then there are also other bigger lakes, smaller than the Great Lakes, but they are within the provinces, within Canada. And then the lakes go smaller and smaller. So some small lakes, like, they would find them in certain municipalities and they're around certain communities. So those ones may be sometimes the city or municipality can take charge of them and, build a nice park or waterfront around them so that the community can enjoy. Others, well, cannot be enjoyed so much, especially when they have like swampy tendencies, all those reeds and, all those vegetation that just makes like a swamp. So not all of them are suitable for activities like swimming or fishing. Well, on this case, let's dwell on a very nice lake I recently discovered. A friend of mine took me there, like, was it last year or was it 2 years back? And we went there and I was like, oh wow, it's not actually far from Toronto. So this lake is called Lake Wilcox. So Lake Wilcox is like a 30 or 40-minute drive from Toronto, depending on traffic, and it's a drive north. Because now driving south, now that's when you find now another lake. Lake Ontario is there, so the Toronto waterfront is given by the Lake Ontario. So Lake Wilcox is not a huge lake. In fact, when you are standing at a vantage point, you can see the whole lot of it. It's like 55 hectares. I think roughly maybe 90 acres, of a lake, and you can see all how it is. So this lake is for of course, the municipality or the city of Richmond Hill. They have planned it so well such that they have on one side, they have a community center, and then they have parking lots, and then between now the parking lot and the lake, they have very nice gardens. When I was taking walks around, around right across, the park, and you can see how they have planned their park. It is well designed, very well. It's like a landscaper's dream. Different trees here. Then they have, like tarmacked some pathways or put like, some concrete on it, and then you are walking in and walking across or passing through, and you see all this vegetation that has been grown in strategically. Then oh, the planners here, they were really in business. One thing that, like, you know, I noticed on Lake Wilcox is that they have banned motorized boating. What do I mean? Like, if you want to have those big boats, you maybe go to Lake Ontario, but not on Lake Wilcox. It's not a huge lake. So they also have some marine life, like some fish. So I think because of the sheer size of the small lake, then they realize, there's no need to have those motorized boats because they will interfere with the flora and the fauna there. So again, so they only like if you have kayaks, you can go there kayaking. In fact, there's a club, there's a small club there that, for kayaking, and they let you to go there and you can rent equipment, a kayak. Then they can give you as well as what do you call them, the life jackets. And when you are there, you also see people are fishing even. So you would have there, they have different fishing spots that people you could just go there and just wait and fish. So they have all these instructions you can see with signages. You are allowed to fish, no motorized boating, you know. And then there's one spot that I really enjoyed there. Is called water, you know, boat paddling. So on this one, you can stand on your board and paddle, or you can kneel on it, or you can sit and paddle, because it's not a very deep lake. It's only like 17 meters deep, and that could be like maybe all the way maybe at the center, because when I was there and I could see people walk into the lake, and the water was like knee high, waist high, deep. Like even if they were in the water like 30 or 40 meters in, so they would not like sink. So hey, it's a nice place. If you happen to go there maybe around the summer season, or even in fall, because they have very good vegetation there, like they even have the trees, I think it will be a nice place just to see how it's gonna be maybe in fall. The other thing is about the waterfront, how they have designed it. There was a really nice there, because there are really nice trails there. And the one I liked the most was the one is like a wooden bridge. So it somehow like it goes over the lake, just on not way deep, not way into the lake, but just on the side of the lake. And when you are there, you are walking and you can feel your footsteps, you can hear your footsteps, because it's on wooden planks. And then you can stop there and just, soak in the sun when it's sunny. Or you can just stop there and just gaze into the lake and see how people are faring in the water. There were so many people there, they're not, riding, paddling. I could see some people are lazy and like, you paddle, I am not paddling. So, you go there and you see people having just all these activities, and it was really nice, you know. So these are some of the things like I always talk about, like you can enjoy some things for free, like going there to the lake or going there to the park. You are not charged. It's for free. And then there are nice things. So it's up for the visitors or the members of the community to take care of the environment, like, to not to litter, like when it comes to parking, you need to pay your parking. That is how they manage now to do all these activities. So Lake Wilcox for me, I would say, is a really nice place for someone to go and have fun. Remember that some of these lakes, they are not so huge. So it is not uncommon to have some lakes on people's properties. So if maybe you could have like 100 acre or 200 acres, lot of land. And at that point, maybe you have a small lake in your farm that is maybe 20 acres, 30 acres. And if you are, if the entrepreneurial bug bites, then you can find a way, that you can monetize, the lake. So how do people do it? Maybe on this case, I happened to discover, and this was way north now from the Lake Wilcox. So this was way up north in Queensville. So there is a small marine park there. It's called the Rayleigh Wake and Aqua Park. So I found this place is a hidden gem. So this is a place where now, if you go there with families or you go with a group of friends, because when I went there, I discovered, that this is a place, okay, you can go there on your own, but the activities there, if you really want to enjoy, they are more enjoyable with friends. So they had something that was very unique. It was like a zip lining, but this zip lining, they would give you like a water boat, and you would have to tug, to hold tightly onto it's like those water sports, when you are being pulled by a tugboat, and then, it's like you are skiing on the water. So it's the same effect. The only difference is that there's no boat. They have a zip line that is motorized. So you go there and you hold onto that. They give you a handle now. You hold yourself, and then somebody is using a remote control to turn the rope. So you have to tug back and hold nice, so that, when you pull back and they operate the zip line, now you can come on top of the water and you can just glide on the water, and that was really fun. So the only thing I realized is that, it was not cheap, because having a lesson there, they would give you like a 30-minute lesson, and it was going for $120. But hey, I asked if I could go in and have a look, and they were very kind to let me go in, and I saw that, this is a place, like, if you, even children, like, you can go even with your family, friends, and even kids, just to have fun there. So maybe the zip lining may not be like the best for kids, but hey, they had one more thing that I think this now was really nice. They had bouncing castles in the water. Hey, my friend, when I saw that, I was like, hey, this Canada, you want me to remain young at heart, eh? So when I went there, and I'm looking at all this, and it's just that maybe I got in a bit late, because the time I got there, it was around like 6 in the evening. But now, because it's summer, so the daylight tends to be longer. But I was not even planning to go into the water. I was just curious to see what the Rayleigh Wake and Aqua Park had to offer. So these are some of those like privately owned, lakes and with the businesses on them. And I realized that they still, again, they they put safety at the forefront, because there I could see there were so many life jackets there. No participant of the zip lining and would go there without having a water jacket. And I think that for me is very important, because at the end of the day, no fun is worth losing a life for. So on that, oh man, you should have seen it. I think for me, if I'd save enough bucks, then yeah, I can go in there for a lesson, because now I realize now I can go back and forth and enjoy, without the boat. Yeah. So that was something that's very commendable. Even just go into those bouncing castles. They had laid them very well, and I think you can even, like, if you fall in the water, you just swim onto the next one and you jump. There's like, it's like fun on top of fun, you know? Yeah. So you let me think, let me know, which one would you prefer, the zip lining or the bouncing castle? Last but not least, this maybe I'll just put it as a bonus. I'd gone to, there's a city on your way from Toronto going to the Niagara Falls. It's halfway there. It's called Burlington. So Burlington, I made a short stop there a while back, and they have a really nice park, uh, the Burlington Waterfront Park. And the thing about this park, you know, it's on a, like, we have the Toronto waterfront, so it's still on the same Lake Ontario. But what I admire about the way things are done in Canada, or maybe let's say even zero into Ontario. You see, Toronto is a different city with a different municipality, and and all that. And then Burlington is like maybe 50 or 60 kilometers away, and you can see the uniformity, like, is that or not all amenities are just in Toronto and others don't have. No, even the other cities or municipalities, they work hard to make sure the standards, like if you visit Burlington, you can visit another place, and like, even the same way we're talking about just Lake Wilcox now, like the city of Richmond Hill, they make sure, hey, the whatever we have, whatever resource we have, if it is a park, we do it, and we do it very well. So here is the thing about Burlington and the waterfront, and they are really, I think they really did themselves. They have quite a stretch of the like a beachfront. Well, it is not a beach, but you get the drift. And then along it, they have put, there were like cycling trails there. You could cycle up and down. You could sit in the park, and then there was also something that like, that is all I've recently, you tend to have to appreciate, artists and the arts. So there were different kinds of arts in the park. Art that maybe from indigenous communities from various provinces. There was art there from an artist from Nunavut. Nunavut is one of the northernmost, like, it's like a province, but we call it territories of northern of Canada. And Nunavut right now, it's summer, but believe it or not, it is snowing right now. I was looking at their weather there, and I was like, oh my goodness me, because they are closer to the North Pole. So there are artists there from Nunavut, and the people who live in Nunavut, they are called the Inuit, and they speak a language called Inuktitut. You know, and then me coming from Kenya and from the Kikuyu nation, you know, with borders the Maasai nation, the Kamba nations, you know, hey, hi cousins. You know, when we come here, you tend to understand about the indigenous. They are not, you know, we understand that they are not just the same language, you know, they are the same people. Yes, the features are the same, but the languages are different, how they identify themselves. So these are some of the things, like when you see these things, the art of the indigenous people in the parks, yeah, pay attention. You can learn something. You know, that is why you are here. You respect them and you learn something. You know, I mean, of what purpose is travel if you don't learn anything, right? So I went to that park and there were so many artists and so many forms of arts there, and you have to appreciate. And then the other thing is that there were other heroes that had been celebrated in the park, like one renowned Canadian, Terry Fox. You know, he did the marathon, it's called the Marathon of Hope, way back in 1980. And I think I remember watching this movie when I was a small boy on KBC, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. You know, there are so many things that KBC actually was doing very well. I don't know what happened with this government broadcasting. They have been taken over by the private sector, yet they have a lot of depth, you know, and a lot of footage and history. They have trained so many journalists. Anyway, not to digress, you know. So when I saw that they honored this young man who ran, you know, he had suffered cancer, and so from cancer, and he had an amputated leg. So when he did this Marathon of Hope, he ran across Canada with one good leg and the other one was a prosthetic. So you can imagine how difficult it must have been for Terry Fox. But he did it so that, you know, for a good cause, to bring awareness of cancer and to give that human resilience that in the face of adversity, you know, we humans will always come on top. So these are some of the things, like you will see when you go to Burlington Park. The other thing is that they also have very nice pier. Like if you walk a pier, you know, it is built into the water. So you have to walk, and then from there at the top, now you can see from the pier, now you can look inwards and see how the city looks from the lake. Oh, you have to go there and just see it for yourself, like on a nice summer day, or even maybe spring, or even winter. It just depends on when when you are available to go. And if you can have that look, then you can actually enjoy. Then one thing that I noted was, like, they 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 give credit not just to just the person who commissioned it, but even the engineers and the people who came with the idea to build it. So the architects, the senior project managers, you know, those people, they were given credit there. You like, you know, it's not like a one-man show where just one governor or just one president or just one MP, like, he hogs all the glory, whereas the others were just like flower girls, you know, and yet they did the bulk of the work. So these are some of the things that you know, that you tend to see, and I think I appreciated about the Burlington Waterfront Park. Hey, so let me know, which one did you enjoy? Was it the Lake Wilcox, the Rail Yard, Wake and Aqua Park, or the Burlington Waterfront? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for supporting us. For me and my team, you know, let's grow this channel. Maybe 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 viewers. Hey, and let us know what else we would like to see. Thank you very much.